What are you missing?
I call this meeting of the North Adams City Council to order for December 9th, 2025. This meeting can be viewed live on Northern Berkshire Community Television Station Channel 1303 and will be posted to their website as soon as possible. We will also be live streaming on YouTube at www.youtube.com/@NorthAdams. Just click on the live, then on the 2025.12.09 City Council meeting. And as always, these meetings are being recorded. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Blackmer. Here. Bona.
Here.
Green.
Here.
Fitch.
Here.
McCarron.
Here.
Alaskowitz.
Here.
Shade.
Present.
Wilkinson.
Here.
Sapienza.
Here. We have a quorum. Please rise for a moment of silent remembrance. And the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, can we get a motion on the November 12th City Council meeting minutes?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Motion to approve the November 25th, 2025 City Council meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Motion passes. Hearing of visitors on the agenda. This is an opportunity for the public to speak to the council for 2 minutes regarding items listed on the agenda. As a reminder, I will tap the gavel when you've reached your 2-minute limit to signal that your time is ended. And as a courtesy, I also ask that all parties please refrain from any personal attacks. Please raise your hand if you wish to speak for hearing of visitors. Please step up to the mic and your name and address for the record.
Jesus Leva, 287 Houghton Street, North Adams. I've come here tonight to speak in favor of the resolution on the agenda in support of endorsing MTA's fiscal crisis plan. It is a slate of 7 bills that the Mass Teachers Association is endorsing in the hopes that our legislature will pass it in the next fiscal budget season next year. It's something that I'm hoping that the City Council will endorse because of the $1.29 million that would come to the City of North Adams for the schools if all 7 of these bills were passed. At the previous school committee meeting, it was unanimously passed by the school committee. So I'm hoping that the City Council will join as well. I'd also like to say that while the resolutions are important for the legislators who we're trying to communicate with concerning these budget priorities, the Mass Teachers Association is actually tracking their progress through individual signers. So if you do pass this resolution, I hope that each individual member of the City Council will sign it. And I just wanted to say one final thing, which is that this fiscal crisis plan is not only important because of the potential funding that it can bring to North Adams, but it's also important because the per capita benefit from the funding regionally to the Berkshires is going to be larger than for most of the rest of the state, which is highly unusual in a statewide plan, and it behooves us to be involved. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak on open or hearing of visitors? Seeing none, we're moving on. Council paper number 12,383, communication from former Counselor Deanna Morrow requesting time for Cody Chamberlain to speak on the Youth Commission and requesting of clarification on visions and goals referred to the administration at the City Council meeting of May 14th, 2024 with an open return date. I would suggest a motion to file.
Move to file.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Counselor Shade.
Yeah, I remember when this was brought up, we were supposed to get at some point an update from the administration. I think it's good to file now, but I'd love to see this get returned or somebody to bring it back up in the next term so we can get that update.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Council paper number 12,538, communication from Counselor Blackmer requesting to allow Virginia Real to present the planning board's work and recommendations on the capital outlay plan referred to the Finance Committee. And Counselor Shade, do you have an update on this?
Yes, so the Finance Committee voted in favor of a 3-0 to adopt the plan that was presented to us and also to request the mayor to present the capital improvement plan at tonight's meeting, which is not on the agenda.
Counselor Blackmer.
I guess my, we were supposed to do it for June 30th. We got a plan. It wasn't really updated and didn't say what we did in 24 or 25. And we were hoping to have an update throughout. And then we had the legislation. I know there was some confusion on which deadline are we working with. We set it so that it could be extended 6 months, 180 days, which extended it to the December. My point is, we spent time discussing it, we spent money publishing it. So are we actually, I kind of want, when the mayor comes back with this, I want to know what the plan is, because we spent money and time and we've got nothing to show for it. So I guess she wants it to come back in February or whatever. I guess now the whole point of not having it due in June was because it was budget season. And are we now going to hear for the next 6 months that everybody's working on a budget, so we don't know what the capital plan is? Those are my concerns. So,
All right, we're going to need a motion on this.
what do we want to continue it to?
Whatever.
January 2nd.
We don't have a meeting that day.
It is already due, though, maybe the first meeting in January.
Okay.
Okay.
What's your motion?
First meeting in January is pretty much.
Back to the administration with a return date of January 13th.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I couldn't hear the return date.
13th of January, which would be the first meeting in January.
Okay.
Yep.
Right, did I have that date right?
Yeah, you did.
But we're also going to,
we also have
you
that.
got the refer.
Yeah,
to
we got a lot of stuff
administration.
on
Okay. No further discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. On this next council paper, I am going to step down and let Counselor Shade take these next couple of papers, as this presents a conflict of interest. My employer works on police cruisers, so I cannot be part of this discussion, so I'll step down at this time.
Okay, communication number 141 from Mayor Maxey, submitting an order to appropriate $81,164.81 from the city parking meter reserve account to support the purchase of a police cruiser. I will file the communication without objection. Chief Bailey, would you please come up to the microphone?
All right, good evening. North Adams Police Department is looking to purchase a 2026 Ford F-150 Super Crew police responder vehicle. Fully outfitted will be about $81,164.81. It's actually cheaper than the police cruiser that we asked for the last time we came in here. The reason for it is because we were able to successfully obtain grant funding for the cruiser cameras that I brought to you about last time I was here. Again, we're trying to outfit every single police cruiser with cruiser cameras and LPR cameras, so that way whenever you interact with the police, you're under video and audio surveillance from the moment you interact to the moment you leave the police station. This police cruiser doesn't need it because we got the grant, so that's why it's a cheaper amount. The reason why we're going for a police truck is because it's easier for us to get barricades out there, road closure signs out there when needed really quickly. We do have the trailer that we can get out, but to bring a trailer to an incident like last night's fire on Walnut Street is cumbersome and takes up more room on the street, so it's easier for us to block off the roads if we just had a pickup truck to do that. The pickup truck has 4 doors on it, so we'll be able to have a prisoner transport inside of the vehicle as well. It's going to be the supervisor vehicle, and the reason for the supervisor vehicle is because the current supervisor vehicle will be outfitted for the K-9 vehicle. It already has the air control built into it that'll take over for the current K-9 vehicle, so that way we don't have to add anything else into it for the K-9. Basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to maintain our fleet. I'm trying to have a fleet maintenance program where I'm going to come to you and see if I can ask for a new cruiser every 6 months. Based on statistics, it shows that what we use in North Adams is we should be on a plan of replenishing our fleet, one vehicle not only every year but every 6 months for what we use it for the upkeep. We're spending a lot of money on maintenance on these vehicles that are over 140,000 miles. We should probably start phasing the front-end patrol vehicles out at 100,000 miles, bring them out to maybe a K-9 vehicle or an ACO vehicle or an SRT vehicle, and then once you reach a limit where you're actually spending way too much money on upkeeping that, maybe phase it out to a city hall vehicle or a city yard vehicle. But in order to do that, we need to maintain our fleet by purchasing a vehicle every 6 months. That's all I got.
Thank you. Councilor Blackmer?
I don't know if we're going to have discussion now and then move on to the order. I'm not sure how that's feasible financially, given all the other demands on the city. One comment, it's more of a comment than a question, and given the fact that we only have 170,000, that money's gone with the next cruiser. I'm not sure, do you have the replenishment rates?
I don't, honey, no.
Yeah, it's usually 25, I mean, it's usually up to $30,000 a year, but we've had significant.
Excuse me, can you come up to the microphone,
Yeah.
please, for the members at home?
So this obviously is taking out of, this funding is taken out of the parking meter funds, which is replenished probably about $30,000 a year right now. But it's, I mean, it's definitely increased over the past couple of years. There's been a difference in it. And right now, after taking it out, we'll still have $9,000 in it. So I think that's where they're going with it.
I understand that, but as soon as you spend, okay, we buy this one now, we buy another one in 6 months, there's you said, $80,000 left.
Right, I think
We're gonna
that-
get 30, we're gonna spend,
Yeah.
spending 80,
Oh, right.
getting 30, that's a net loss of 50. It's not gonna take long to wipe it out.
Well, it's also not going to take long to wipe out their budget and their vehicle expense line, which sometimes happens. And that's where we're either spending it on one end or we're spending it on a revolving fund, which they're building that fund up. I mean, it's their responsibility to go out and write the parking tickets. I mean, and I don't believe we wouldn't be fiscally responsible if there isn't enough funding in there. I don't foresee us approving that. So, I mean, and I can honestly say that. But what's happening is it's coming out of their budget, and it's coming out of their vehicle line, and I know everyone knows the cost for expenses to a vehicle right now, and the labor in itself is extremely high. So, you know, if you review our budget right now, we've gone up to tremendously in the vehicle line. So, and I mean, that's all I have to say about it. But this is a fund that they raise the money and then they use it to buy vehicles from usually.
Okay,
Thanks.
thanks. I have a follow-up question. Is there any hybrid option on this?
Not on this. We haven't had success with our hybrid vehicles. The hybrid vehicles have cost us an extremely large amount of money to repair. It costs like $900 just to get a new battery in the vehicles. So the hybrid vehicles that we've spent a lot of money just to repair those, more than any of the gas vehicles.
What about the other communities seem to be successful? Why are they successful and we aren't?
I don't know. I haven't
Okay.
studied them with their hybrid vehicles. Which communities? I know that the Mass State Police are on the same line as we are, where they keep a vehicle for 5 years and they replace it after 5 years or 100,000 miles, which is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to keep a vehicle for 5 years or 100,000 miles just to make sure that we can get to the calls promptly, that we're there to get to the people that are in need of our service, and the fact that I want to make sure that the officers are safe.
And they also cover 16 cities and towns geographically.
Right, but
So
they
hit
also
that
don't
100.
have the call volume that we have in the city, where we're going from call to call. So even though they have a higher mileage that they have to travel, we make up that mileage going from one call to another, back and forth across the
Well,
city.
they also, troopers ride alone. They go one cruiser to a call.
Right, so
So that makes a difference too. Okay, thank you.
do we.
Counselor Latzwitz?
I'd like to thank Chief Bailey for his presentation, and as always, the council usually will never say no. This year, we did approve one car earlier in the year where we wish you did apply for two, but this time, you're asking for a different request. I'm totally behind it. I see the need to have it, so I'll probably say yes to this one. Thank you for your presentation.
Counselor Brand?
Every 6 months, I think, is a fantastic idea. It goes back a couple of years when you explained the number of cars you had and the number of cars that were over 120,000 miles. I think the program that you're doing now does lots of things. First, it puts policemen in safer cars, and cars that they can depend on. And I think that's important. The other thing is, we were looking at a line item of $76,000 in parts a few years back. With getting a new car and you have bumper-to-bumper warranties and turning them around to get resale value out of it, I think it'll be a wash. And with the other funding, I think that it makes more sense to buy 2 cars a year that you're doing, and will come out actually saving money in the long run, and have safer vehicles for your personnel.
Thank you.
Counselor McCarron and then Counselor Bono?
I just wanted to thank you for your presentation. Is this going to be a replacement or in addition to?
This is a replacement. So the trade, this is what we would call the, let's see, the 2000, or 218, let's call it 218, that's the number that's going to be. We'll get rid of our 202 for a trade-in, which currently has 144,000 miles on it. It's been really causing us a lot of problems, and a lot of maintenance fees are going to that vehicle specifically.
And that's coming out of the reserve fund to pay for all these maintenance fees? The money that you're using?
Well, we have a vehicle maintenance line
Okay.
in our budget, which I believe is around $80,000. And that's what we use to replace, basically to fix these older vehicles, whether it's a transmission going or, whatever happens. So that trade-in for 202, we don't get much for a trade-in anyway, especially with 144,000 miles.
Yeah.
But we also have old vehicles that are littered throughout the city that we're trying to get rid of. The Beamer that we had, we've been sitting in storage since 2018, basically. We're trying to unload all of these vehicles that we have around the city just to try and lower the amount of the next cost as well, which is what we did for this vehicle as well. We traded some old vehicles, the old ACO vehicle and stuff like that, to lower the cost of this vehicle.
Thank you.
Counselor Bono?
Yeah. This is getting repetitive for me, but, we have the parking meter reserves, and one way that you can build more up is if we're getting more from the parking meters.
Yes.
This past weekend, I was up in Keene, and every meter I saw had a little sticker on it that said Park Mobile. These were old meters. They weren't new meters. They were old meters with the sticker, Park Mobile. There were signs around, Park Mobile. Every community I seem to go around within 2-3 hours has Park Mobile, or there's another one. Park Mobile seems to be the big one. We have parking lots we're not collecting from. Center Street parking lot, other than the permits, there are not meters, there are not kiosks. There's no cost involved, they take a percentage, but you would be collecting more funds through it. And over 12 years, I've been asking for this. And I keep hearing the administration, we're working on it, it's on the list, we're working on it. I called one community, I said, from the point you said you were gonna do it, how long did it take? 4 months. 4 months it took to get them up and running. They come out, they map it, and you don't even need the equipment. You can have kiosks, but you don't need them. It's just an argument, I don't get it. Like, we want more money in that account will get you more vehicles. It seems like it's I get the visitors and the tourists, and they come in and they're like, you still use quarters? And I'm talking people in their 80s, they're from out of town. They're more and more communities are doing this. And, as a community that's growing with this, it's just something that I don't understand why we're not moving on this, because it will get more money into that account. It doesn't so much have to raise the price of the parking meter, but it will collect more because younger people, they don't even carry change around with them anymore, and it's not a big cost involved because we don't have to change the current meters. We can use them. And then in Center Street parking lot, you can literally put up signs. If you want to go beyond that and have kiosks, that's fine, but we don't have to. I just get frustrated because every time we talk about this and we hear like, we're going to run out of money and we need more money, this is a solution that seems like it's, to me, a low-hanging fruit that we should have done 10 years ago.
Counselor Fitch and then Counselor Lesko.
Yeah, sure, just exactly that. Everything Counselor Bona just said. I'm also very surprised that he's been advocating for this for 12 years and there's still been no movement on it. And I too have a shop downtown, and I too end up running out of quarters sometimes because people come up to ask for quarters for parking. And they don't seem impressed by the fact that we use quarters for parking. It's honestly a little bit embarrassing. And I think we can get much more money out of this and help the police department accomplish their goals if we focus on this. Also, thank you for the presentation. Also, this is a good idea.
Counselor Lesko.
Just a quick point of information, as we talked about draining the funds and replenishing, as we come into 2026, we found a little bit of success in the Center Street parking lot and the St. Anthony's parking lot as we charge parking for Wilco, which will be this year, and Fresh Grass. So you'll have 2 festivals, and I believe, I could be wrong with the numbers, but generally you're bringing $10,000 or $15,000 for each festival. So you got 2 festivals this year. There's pretty much a half a car, so there's a little bit of replenishment to that fund. Thank you.
Counselor Bona.
Yeah, my understanding, I thought those funds pay for the flowers, not for police cars.
As far as I know, they went into parking reserves because that's what they're collected for. But that I don't know. That's just on ask the administration.
Any other questions, comments from the gallery? I have a couple of questions for you, Chief. The first one, how many vehicles are currently in the fleet?
We have 10 front-end vehicles, which are basically your patrol vehicles. That includes your ACO vehicle, your K-9 vehicle, and the SRT vehicle. And then we have 8 of the unmarked vehicles, to include mine, the lieutenants, and the detectives.
Okay. And what is the oldest age of the vehicles in the fleet?
The frontline vehicles, we have 210 is 2013, which has 138,000 miles. That's going to get traded in, not right away, but the next one, we'll be using that for a trade-in. And then that 202 that I talked about, or I'm sorry, that 210 is 213, the 214 is 2017, which has 114,000. So the oldest one is 2013, and then it goes 2017, 2018, and 2020.
Thank you. Next, yes, Counselor
I have
Martin.
2 follow-up questions to that. Of the 10 patrol cars, how many are normally running on a shift, and how are the cars running? Are we running them 24/7? Are we running them 2 shifts, alternating off a shift?
Yep, sorry.
Oh, and then you said the last cruiser was dated 2020?
I'm just saying that how they go up in time frames. It's,
Because did we just buy a couple over the last
no,
couple of
no,
years?
no, you're right. I'm just saying it
Okay.
goes 2013, 2017, 2018, 2020, 2 in 2020, and 2025.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we didn't buy any from 2020
We just
to
didn't get
20
any 24s
Okay.
or, because I think that was the year we were trying the hybrids out, the 2020s.
Okay.
So they weren't making any hybrids, I believe, in those next years because of the, again, I'm just reiterating what I remember. I believe there was like some kind of shortage because of COVID.
Oh, right,
of parts
okay.
Or something like that.
So
yeah.
it wasn't that we didn't want to, it's that
No,
we
no,
couldn't
no,
get
no.
the product?
Right, correct.
Okay. Thank you for that.
I'm sorry, what was that first question? I didn't answer something.
You did, you answered the patrols, they're not?
So the patrols, we have like 4 officers are in 209, 3, like, it varies from like 4 officers in one cruiser to 3 officers in another, but we don't like to have a vehicle run 24 hours a day. So yeah, there is a break time in between them. That's why a lot of people say, what are the officers doing? You have so many cars parked out at the station. No, there's cars that are parked there just not being used or resting.
Now, are officers assigned generally to one cruiser?
Yes, yeah.
Because historically, studies have shown that when officers have a cruiser that they're kind of responsible for,
They take
and not just show up and be given a cruiser, that they tend to take better care of it, so they tend to last longer
Yep, that's exactly
and
what we
have
do.
less maintenance and repair problem.
Right, but then we also do shift bidding every single year.
So everybody
So they
changes.
change, so that changes the lineup of where you are in a police cruiser. So it's, every year I could say, yeah, they're stuck in that vehicle, so they take care of that vehicle, but it changes every year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank
yours
you.
good.
Counselor McCarron?
Just one last question. How often are the older vehicles, are they going in for maintenance? You know, just generally, are they going in like every couple of months? Are they going in like all the time?
We have a schedule where they need the oil changes. We keep track of everything. We actually have 2 officers that came from the mechanics profession that we're lucky to have, that they go through it and they can say what they're due for, what's ready. They've actually saved us thousands of dollars going to a dealership. One dealership will say it costs this much, and they say, no, I know a guy that'll do it for a better price. So having those 2 officers on our fleet has saved us thousands of dollars on repairs. But yeah, to answer your question, how often, it depends on what is needed. So the older
They're
fleet.
put through a lot of, rigor, these cars, so I'm just thinking, like, all of a sudden it has to go in unexpectedly. That's probably a better question, how many unexpected maintenance do you get on these vehicles?
We get quite a few, and that gets costly, not only because of the cost that it costs to repair.
Because they're older, too.
But we have to get it there as well. We have to tow it there. We have to bring it back. We have to pay an officer to go out and get it with another officer so that officer can bring it back. So that's what gets costly, because it's not like we are doing it in-house. If it's a dealership problem, we have to bring it out to Bennington, or we have to bring it down to Cheshire or further to get it worked on. If they come directly from MHQ, sometimes we have to take it out there too. So it can get costly,
Thank you.
just in travel.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll move on to the order.
Thank you.
Council item number 12,545, in order to appropriate $81,164.81 from the city parking meter reserve account to support the purchase of a police cruiser. Do we have a motion?
Motion to adopt. Second.
Okay.
You've got that. This will be a roll call vote.
Blackmer,
Yes.
Bona,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Fitch,
Yes.
McCarron,
Yes.
Alaskowitz.
Yes.
Shade,
Yes.
Wilkinson,
Yes.
and Sapienza is abstaining.
801, the motion passes. Councilor Sapienza, please rejoin us.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Council paper number 12,546, communication from Councilor Fitch requesting time for representatives from Berkshire Regional Planning Commission to present about the Home Modification Loan Program. I'm going to file the communication without objection, and Councilor Fitch, would you like to present this, please?
Yes, certainly. Thank you for the time this evening, folks. In case you haven't already learned or noticed the method to my madness, it is if enough residents bring up an issue to me, a similar issue to me, I bring it to council. And so over the last couple of years since I've been a city councilor, I've heard from, I think, probably every single city councilor, and I've heard from a lot of community members, concerns around keeping disabled or elderly people in their homes, in their home community, and the challenges that are associated with that. So when I learned about the Home Modification Loan Program through Berkshire Regional Planning Commission, I was really excited to have them come in and just present about this, because it sounds like a great program to me. I'm looking forward to learning a little bit more about it tonight for all of us too, and learning about how we can direct the residents that we speak with to such a program. So this evening we have Brett Roberts and Michaela Grady from Berkshire Regional Planning who agreed to come up here and present this to us. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you so much for having us. My name is Brett Roberts. I'm a principal planner for housing at Berkshire Regional Planning Commission. Michaela is the real expert here, and she'll talk here in one moment. I just wanted to bring greetings from Berkshire Regional Planning Commission. We have a large amount of housing programs that we work on, this one being a really great one as well. And if we can ever be of help to the city of North Adams, please reach out to us. We're here to help. This is just one of our many programs, and happy to assist you in reaching your goals for the city in any way. And now I will give it over to the real expert here.
Hi everyone, my name is Michaela Grady. I'm a housing planner at Berkshire Regional Planning Commission. One of the many things I do there is I help facilitate our home modification loan program. It is a state-funded program. So we mostly...
Before you continue, can I ask you to talk closer to the mic, please, or bring the mic closer to you? There you go.
Sure. Is that better?
That's good.
Okay. So this is a state-funded program. We provide 0% interest deferred payment loans to homeowners and 3% interest loans to landlords for the necessary modifications to keep elderly and disabled people in their homes so they can age in place. So these projects include permanent adaptations to allow elderly people and disabled individuals to access the different parts of their home that they need to function on a daily basis. So that is bathrooms, stairs, a ramp to get into their house, chairlifts, all things like that. And these are just some examples. We also help fund ADUs and widen doorways for wheelchair access. So the most amount of money we can give to a homeowner is $50,000, and we offer $30,000 to manufactured or mobile homes. There's no interest. You can pay ahead of time. You don't have to. The life of the loan is 50 years, and repayment is required when the property's deed is transferred or if the beneficiary passes away before the 50 years is up. Sorry, I don't know what happened. This slide is about the income limits. They're extremely high compared to other programs. So if the household size is 1, for example, you can make up to $231,600 and still qualify for a loan. And for 8 people, it goes up to $436,800. So that's extremely high for this area. And the asset count is also really high. It's up to $175,000 in countable assets, and that does not include like your primary house, retirement accounts, and your primary cars. And if a landlord is interested in this program, they just need to have under 10 units, and then it's a 3% interest deferred payment loan. And we are the regional provider agency for Berkshire County. Does anyone have any questions about this program?
Councilor Breen?
This looks like an excellent program. A question, if someone wanted to update, like, solar or something like that, could they do that?
Not through this program.
Good.
Okay. Counselor Shade?
Yes, first, thank you for coming and teaching us about this. This seems like a great way for people to improve their homes, and I'm very interested in hearing a little bit more about how this could help disabled peoples or peoples with, new or oncoming disabilities, people who have struggles with mobility issues. What kind of, other than like widening a doorway or ramp access, are there other things that would cover to help with that, like more specifically?
Absolutely. Our most popular project at the moment is turning clawfoot tubs into walk-in showers. We also install like grab bars throughout the home. We've done one elevator. We've done a stair lift. If an elderly person has a wobbly floor, we can replace the floor with something non-slip so that they're able to use their walker or their wheelchair better.
Amazing. Yeah.
Hey. Lisa, Counselor Blackmer?
Thank you. I noticed the income and the assets are very generous, and that's really helpful because I think as we have an aging population, and I'm kind of part of that, and I think about, okay, in 10 years, am I going to be able to get up the stairs? So but one of the things sometimes when people they end up where they might have to use a wheelchair are adaptions. Like your kitchen, everything's designed not for people my height, but for people to be able to work at a certain level. But if you're in a wheelchair, your sink's not that high, your stove's not that high, your cabinets aren't. Is that part of the adaptation that they would be able to do?
That's an eligible project.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything that would allow someone to access part of their home better would be an eligible.
And to be able to stay in their home instead of going into a nursing home
Exactly.
or long-term care and things like that. I think this is great, and thank you for bringing it. Thank you, Counselor Fitch, for bringing it to us.
Counselor Wilkinson?
Sounds like a wonderful program. I'm curious, if somebody wanted to look into this and find out more about that, how do they get directly in touch with you, or do they get directly in touch with whom?
They can call me, or they can call anyone at Berkshire Regional Planning, and they'll connect them with me. I will often go out to people's houses because it is difficult for the elderly population to drive to our office and find parking and whatnot, and I'll help them go through the application and work with them step by step.
How long does it take if somebody were to apply until they get an answer from you as to whether it's go or no go?
They get an answer from me immediately, but as far as like loan approval from the state, that depends on how motivated they are to get the project done. So sometimes people can complete the whole application within about a month. Sometimes people have a harder time finding a contractor to do the work, and then it takes a couple months.
Thank you.
Counselor Shade?
Yes, one follow-up question. Would, for an eligible expense, would something like a lift bed be something that would be eligible to help somebody get in and out of bed? Motorized beds, would that be covered?
We haven't had that yet, but I can't see why that wouldn't be.
Yeah, I think one piece is just making sure that whatever is being funded remains in the home, right? Because we're securing this through a mortgage on the house, and so as long as it's a part of the property and it's financed that way, as long as it can't be like removed from the home later on, type work.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Counselor Shade, to follow up on that, that might be something that might be covered under Medicare or Medicaid.
Possibly, but not all of it.
Counselor McCarron?
Question, if, I'm not sure if this would be covered under the loan, but what if you were bringing your elderly parents to live with you? Would you be able to adapt your home, take a loan to change your home to have them rather than putting them in a nursing home or long-term care?
Yes.
So people can take out a loan to modify their home?
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was like to fix their home only.
No, as long as the beneficiary is moving in.
Okay. It's good to know.
Counselor Wilkinson?
Yeah, one last question. Say somebody want to apply for the program, but they already have a mortgage on their house? Is this like a second mortgage, or do they have to refinance the whole entire thing, or
It's a separate mortgage.
separate mortgage,
Yeah.
second, maybe third if they have an equity line?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Bona?
Yeah. Is it only loans? I mean, are there other funding such as grants, or, I mean, if there's people who are just totally at the end of what they can borrow, what other options do they have?
This is just a loan program.
Hey, Counselor Shade?
Just kind of a question on elderly. What are the requirements for elderly? Like, what's the age limits? Are there age limits? It says elderly or disabled. If somebody's 50, are they elderly? 70, are they, where do you define elderly?
That's a good question. I'm not sure on the age. They are very generous with what kind of documentation they need for being elderly or disabled. It could be something as simple as arthritis or mobility issues.
Okay, so it's pretty general too.
Yeah.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay, any further questions? All right, I thank you very much for your presentation, very informative, and thank you for coming by tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Council paper number 12,547, resolution from Councilor Fitch in support of the Massachusetts Teachers Association MTA federal or fiscal crisis campaign. And I'm going to turn this over to Councilor Fitch. Would you present your resolution?
Yes, certainly. Thank you for your time for this as well, and I'm sorry that both of my agenda items are stacked. It's not my choice. Backstory with this resolution, by the way, starts with Jesus, who is the audience member that spoke to us this evening in favor of this resolution. Jesus informed me of MTA's fiscal crisis plan and of all the information behind this plan, and of the importance for advocacy for this plan right now, and including the benefits that it would potentially bring to North Adams if these pass in our State House. I also watched Jesus successfully present this to the school committee just last week, if I remember correctly. I was a virtual attendee of it, and I watched the school committee unanimously vote to endorse this and to, submit, I believe, their information to the state legislature as well in favor of this. So in that moment, basically, I thought to myself, okay, we have a couple days to get this together. So I called my friend Josh Valiers and asked him if he had a little bit of bandwidth to help me write this thing. I added a little bit to it too, but a lot of this came from Josh and from Jesus. So thank you so much for your assistance with this. And then, of course, I contacted the teacher that we have on our council now, Marie McCarron, to see her interest level with it as well. So we put this package together, this resolution together, which is meant to be simple and just to indicate the council's favor for MTA's fiscal crisis plan. So now, with all of that background story announced, let's read this into the record and then have a
Yes,
discussion.
please do, yep.
Thank you. So stand by for 1 second. Okay. And the plan here is that I will read the first page and Councilor McCarron will read the second page. All right, so in City Council, December 9th, 2025, upon the recommendation of Councilor Andrew Fitch and Councilor Marie McCarron, whereas the City of North Adams is the smallest city in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, facing persistent fiscal constraints, rising educational costs, and unique demographic challenges, and whereas North Adams Public Schools continue to experience increasing mandated costs in special education, transportation, and student supports, which significantly outpace available local revenues and services. And whereas the Commonwealth's current Chapter 70 funding formula contains an inflation calculation flaw that has suppressed state aid for many districts, including North Adams, resulting in a structural gap between what is required to provide high-quality education and what is reimbursed by the state. And whereas the Massachusetts Teachers Association, MTA, has developed a comprehensive fiscal crisis plan and corresponding sign-on advocacy letter urging the Commonwealth to adopt a set of legislative and budgetary actions to address the statewide funding crisis. And whereas, according to the most recent estimates provided by the MTA, enactment of all 7 proposed bills of the full reform package would provide approximately $1.29 million in additional annual state funding to North Adams. And whereas this project amount represents 0.18% of the total $750 million statewide investment, While North Adams comprises approximately 0.14% of the Commonwealth's population. Accordingly, the projected increase would bring North Adams into alignment with its proportional share of statewide funding. And then finally, whereas the MTA fiscal crisis plan includes essential improvements for small districts like North Adams, including the listed provisions: strengthening the special education circuit breaker reimbursement program, fixing the Chapter 70 inflation gap, fully reimbursing regional and non-regional school districts for student transportation costs, significantly increasing rural school aid, further mitigating the fiscal impact of charter schools on traditional public schools, and making targeted investments in the staffing and programs needed to best support student mental health. And
Whereas multiple North Adams educational leaders, including school administrators, principals, faculty association representatives, superintendent, and the full North Adams School Committee have already endorsed the MTA advocacy letter demonstrating broad community support for the proposed relief measures, and whereas without urgent state action, the FY27 budget cycle will place further strain on the ability of North Adams to maintain programming, staffing levels, and essential student services, especially in the community with limited tax capacity and high need. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the North Adams City Council hereby formally supports the Massachusetts Teachers Association's fiscal crisis advocacy letter and the full set of legislative and budgetary actions outlined therein, and be it further resolved that the City Council urges Governor Healy and the members of the legislature to immediately adopt the funding corrections and enhancements described in the MTA fiscal crisis plan, with particular attention to reforms that ensure small, rural, and high-needs districts like North Adams receive equitable and sustainable state support, and be it further resolved that copies of this resolution shall be transmitted by the North Adams City Clerk to the Governor of the Commonwealth, the Senate President, the Speaker of the House, the Berkshire Legislative Delegation, and President of the Massachusetts Teachers Association. Approved this 9th day of December, 2025, the North Adams City Council by, and then it should be signed by President Sapienza, Brian Sapienza, Council President, City of the North Adams Administration, Jennifer Maxey, Mayor.
Okay. And can we get a motion?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, Councilor Blackmer?
I obviously am not against resolutions, but I do have a question. I feel like the schools are part of our budget, so yeah, so the MTA comes forward. One, they keep referencing the plan. I didn't find a comprehensive plan. I found a letter which basically outlines most of the stuff in this resolution. I did look at it basically seems like their plan is their legislative agenda. I'm used to, like, the MMA has a whole thing over the fiscal crisis on all issues, not just education. And it's 13 pages, and it's got graphs, and it's got historical data, which is what I went looking for and couldn't find on several websites. I just kept looking up different ways of phrasing it, and I never came up with anything called a plan, so that's kind of discouraging. I'm not opposed to this, but one of the things about non-regional school districts for student transportation, historically, what happened was when the state, a long time ago, wanted to get schools to regionalize because of dropping population, they put the carrot of, you regionalize, we'll pay for your transportation costs, because obviously if you live in Williamsburg and you have to go to Hampshire Regional and you're on a bus for half an hour, 40 minutes, that's a real cost as opposed to busing people around an urban area. So that carrot and stick was there. And as it is, they haven't consistently funded that. And so, and they've never really had a plan to fund in district. And I think it's kind of a push to ask for it. Maybe that's the plan, ask for this so we can finally make sure we get that. But I guess so what happens when MCTA comes and says, we have a resolution for our legislative agenda, and Mayo comes to us and says, we want a resolution for our agenda, and all these other groups, they all impact us because they represent organizations that have some connection to work in our city, and I'm going to support it mostly because most of what's on it's on the MMA, legislative policy requests and things that I've worked on over the years. And as I serve on the Fiscal Policy Committee, we are dealing with a lot of things. The in-district transportation is new. That's nothing I've seen before. But I feel like a plan. If you're going to have a plan, have a plan. Not that, or just say our legislative agenda. But that's my thing. And I worked with schools. It's not that I'm anti-school because I spent 3.5 years working with small rural school districts. So that's my comments on this.
Councilor Shade.
I think it's extremely important right now, given the political turmoil in the United States, that we look at new and more ways to fund our schools. However, I have one fundamental issue with this particular resolution. It mentions 7 bills that I have not read. I can't vote yes in favor of something saying that I support a bill that I haven't read, that I haven't been provided with. Without that information, without looking at the bill to know what it says, I can't vote yes. I can't give support to something without having read. We say enactment of all 7 proposed bills. What are the bills? What bills? Where are those bills? They're not in front of us. Why not? If I don't read those bills, I can't say that I sign off on what's in those bills. I haven't read them. I don't know what's in those bills. The highlights of these are great, but is that the only language in the bills? Probably not. So I want to know what's in the bills before I support something like this. So I would prefer to postpone this so I have time to do the research, so that we get time to do the research. I don't think we should vote on something without knowing the language that's in the bills. We're saying, yes, we support that. I can't sign off on something that I haven't read. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments? Councilor Breen.
Yeah, a couple of things, just to make sure it's clear. I am a MTA member. MTA is a Massachusetts Teachers Association. It's their union, and they have about 118,000 members. I've read through, because I get a lot of information about this, they're excellent things that they want to have done. And I called the Ethics Commission to say, is this something I can vote on being a member of the union? And they suggested what Ashley said. She said, you need to dig in deeper before you vote, because is there any benefits that are for you? And I don't know that. I don't know these bills. I know what they're asking, and a lot of it is very good things, but I don't know the rest of the things. And typically, bills is a trade-off. We'll put this in, but this is going to come out. So I think there's a little bit more to look at. The other thing is that we ought to look at on our own, and they're the ones that brought it up. There is a $490,000, $500,000 error in our teacher allocation from the state. An error. And that's one thing that they want to fix. That's one of the pieces in there. And that's not lobbying. That's just they want them to fix the formula. And there's 410 entities, not just school districts, that want them to fix that. That's something we ought to look at and say, that's real money. That's not changing anything. That's where we've been shorted. The additional 1.29, we'd have to look at that. So I think there's got to be a little bit more research on this and be a little bit more forceful of what we're endorsing.
Okay. Councilor Bona.
Through the chair, I think Councilor Shea, Councilor Breen bring up fair concern. And I guess my question would be to Counselor Fitch or Counselor McCarron is, how timely is this? Is there time to get copies of these bills out to the counselors so they can review it? Like, just even if it's a link or something that says, these are the bills that are in this that are being discussed, and have it come back in a meeting or two, you know? So I don't know how timely this has to be passed, but that gives time for the concerned members to review it.
Okay, Counselor Fitch.
I think that that is
We can
fine.
get together
I
and do
suspect
that.
that that is fine. Yeah, we can just provide more documentation
Mm-hmm.
and come back to the council.
Okay. Counselor Shade?
Yes, I just want to say, again, I think it's great to get more funding for our schools, and it's really important that we look at new ways to get that revenue. But I will reiterate, and I do appreciate the being willing to postpone and delay and get that information. I just will not sign my name to something that I don't know all the details for, so.
Okay, Counselor Bona?
I don't know if you want to make an amendment to your
Or
motion?
rescind the amendment and the motion and.
Counselor
re-
Wilkinson,
re-
would you want to rescind your motion and make a new motion?
Sure.
Okay.
Move to postpone to January 2nd.
January 13th is the first meeting.
I won't be here. 2nd, 13th is fine.
Okay. Motion to postpone to the first meeting in January, which would be January 13th. Do we have a second?
Second.
Pardon me for having a little fun.
You're fine. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Counselor Fitch?
Just that I will get links out to all the counselors within the next week, so that there will be plenty of time to review.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. This will be a roll call vote.
No, we're moving to postpone, so don't need to vote.
Okay, so we
Not
don't
adopting,
need,
so we
okay, so yea, nay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Committee reports and minutes. Do we have any committee reports? Any minutes to share? Okay. We have no licenses, and at this time, I am going to go into open forum. This is an opportunity for the public to speak to the council for 2 minutes on issues of municipal significance. As a reminder, I will tap the gavel when you've reached your 2-minute limit to signal that your time has ended. And as a courtesy, I also ask that all parties please refrain from any personal attacks. If you'd like to speak in open forum, please raise your hand and I will call you to the mic. Ms. Real?
I'm from Real, 36 Holden Street. I'm speaking for myself. I am not speaking for the planning board, right? And I'm speaking on the capital improvement plan. One thought that I have researched other jurisdictions' processes around their capital improvement plans. And basically, the capital improvement plans in many jurisdictions come forward early in the budgeting process, as early as February. And so if the council would like to move to be aligned to common practice, then the 2027 capital improvement plan would come in February. And since the mayor is presumably going to bring something forth, maybe somehow not spend time on the 2026 plan, but make what comes forward in February, as the mayor has proposed, the 2027 plan. And then you will be following a more typical budgeting cycle. So that's my suggestion.
Thank you. Yes, please step up to the mic.
Should I reiterate my name?
Yes, please, yes.
Jesus Leva, 287 Hogan Street, North Adams, Mass. I want to say concerning the resolution, after the previous city council meeting, I did send a link to each counselor with the directly to the MTA's fiscal crisis website that has a list of all 7 bills. So that would be a good reference to start if you want to look at the language of each of the 7 bills. And part of the context of MTA presenting the fiscal crisis plan is that statewide, back in I think it was 2022, voters 51 to 49% approved the fair share amendment, which created a surtax on millionaires to provide more funding for local infrastructure and for schools. It generated an enormous amount of money, and for this fiscal year, $500 million of it was used to backfill Chapter 70 funding, which was already allocated in the Student Opportunity Act's plan. So we're basically trying to get money that we've already approved of as voters to local schools. And I think that's part of trying to understand this. And in terms of the 1.29 million, that is an estimate of how much money we would get if all 7 bills passed. Not all 7 bills are relevant to us, and it's part of coalition building in order to be able to get the parts that are relevant to us. The inflation piece that was mentioned before, that's probably the most significant for us. Rural aid is not significant for us, but it's very significant for the rest of our neighbors in the Berkshires. And that's part of understanding the reasoning behind this. I hope that helps, and if you have any questions for the next meeting when this gets presented, I would be happy to answer them.
Thank you. I'll let you know that was exactly 2 minutes. Thank you. Anybody else in open forum? Step up to the mic.
Hi, Alexa McDowell, 200 East Main Street. I just want to come on here in strong support of Park Mobile or anything similar to add to our meters. I think that it would add a lot of revenue. We have a lot of people coming in who are tourists, and if we want to be seen as a serious tourist attraction, that is a huge starting point whenever you go to larger cities in Massachusetts or in other states. You will see multiple ways to pay for where you are parking, and it seems to bring in a lot of revenue. I use it very regularly whenever I'm on the other side of the state. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else open forum? Moving on. Since the mayor's not here, we do not have any updates. Liaison or counselor updates? Counselor Blackmer?
I know the city council all got this email, but I just want to let the public know who might not have seen it. The mayor has called a convention. Let's see. We have an opening on the school committee vacancy, so basically, is that on the front page? The mayor's called for the convention. She issued a call for statements of interest, pre-convention meeting notice. Wednesday, the 6th, statement of interest accepted until 2 p.m. Thursday, the 7th of January, nomination statements of interest provided to all city committee, school committee, and city council members. A joint convention to elect a new school committee member will be held on Tuesday, January 13th, 2026 at our city council meeting. So if you are interested, anybody's interested in serving on the school committee on the open seat, please submit your letter of interest to btassone@napsk12.org until 2 p.m. on Wednesday, January 6th, 2026.
Thank you. Okay. Nope. Counselor Fitch, yes.
A couple of, I think, important event announcements. One would be actually tomorrow, that is Wednesday, the 10th of December. The Chamber of Commerce has a Northern Berkshire meetup at Taurus Hotel, which begins 6 p.m. and I believe ends at 9 p.m. This is not just for business owners. I wanted to mention it especially because the public should come, I think. The way that it's written here is that it's a gathering of business owners, remote workers, entrepreneurs, culture and nonprofit workers, artists, and everyone who wants to meet and learn about the community in the Northern Berkshires. So that is basically everybody. And so it's a great opportunity to mix and mingle and learn more about North Adams and kind of become a part of something and also eat some cool food and drink. Another thing on Friday, that is the 12th of December, I believe it's 3 p.m., is the Route 2 Overpass Celebration event at Mass MoCA. I certainly intend to be at that as well, and I hope to see a lot of folks there because, to my understanding, the overpass study results will be shown at that event, and we'll be able to kind of learn more about it and see what we can do to advocate for it if the results are positive. And actually, that's all I got. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Councilor Shade?
Yes, I just want to remind everybody that we are in very cold, snowy weather. It's going to get colder, it's going to get snowier, so try to stay indoors where you can, try to be warm. Also, try to clear your sidewalks, make it easier for people, especially our disabled population, to get around in your neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you. And to polish up this section, I want to express gratitude to Councilor Wilkinson for his 10 years of service on the City Council and his work on the council, especially on the short-term rental ordinance. Your expertise and your knowledge really helped get that ordinance through and make it understandable and clear, and we thank you for your service. Thank you very much. And not to forget, Councilor Oleskowitz, your 5 years of service on the City Council, and especially one notable event is facilitating the Woodlawn Avenue Sewer Hookup Project. I believe you were instrumental in coordinating with the City Public Works and getting that to come to fruition, and those people are now able to hook up to our local sewer system. And again, I want to thank all the councilors for your service over the past 2 years, and look forward to serving with our new councilors. Some of them are already on the council, and some of us will be joining us on January 1st. And again, I want to thank everybody for their service. It's been a pleasure serving as your president, and I wish lots of luck to whoever the next president may be. Councilor
Just like to make one thing. This is probably potentially our last meeting for the year. I believe the next one is probably not going to have any agenda or anything, but we don't know what's going to happen in the future. But if I'm not here, I'd just like to thank the City of North Adams, thank all my peers here. Speaking to the mic, thank you, Councilor Bona. And this is for the people at home, not for us in the room, because I do have a big mouth. But I want to thank everybody, my peers that I've served with for the past 5 years, 2 years, 1 year, 2 weeks, but it's been an honor to serve, and I was glad to be here, and I thank everybody who gave me the opportunity to be here, and good luck to the next incoming, well, 2 more that are coming in on January 1st, so best of luck to you. It's a big learning experience. So thank you to everybody in the City of North Adams and everybody here and everybody who attends the meetings. Thank you.
Councilor Oleskowitz. Okay. City Clerk, updates. Madam Clerk, nothing tonight. Okay. Do we have any correspondence that needs to be shared?
I already did.
Okay. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.